Okay, on this question, it's not necessarily number 20. It randomly orders them, but this is one of the questions from the exam, and I want to show how to do this problem and then how to use a calculator on it. So let me bring it over here. Particularly, I'm doing this to help people that might have trouble with the calculator. So so there we go. So there's the question. And what are we supposed to do? Well, if you looked at it, here's the notes. Here's the exam notes. These are on the home page of our Canvas course shell. Just click on notes on the home page and you'll get all these notes and print them out. You can use them during the exam. Anyway, here it says solving x squared and x to the first by the quadratic formula. That's what we have. We have x squared and x to the first by the quadratic formula. Step one, get a zero on one side. Okay, so I am going to add 22x and add 5. And whatever I do to one side, I've got no choice but to do the same thing to the other. I think it's helpful to put in the wall of separation here. So anyway, these cancel and gets us that 0. And the other side, we have 12x squared plus 22x plus 5 equals 0. So see how step one, I got a 0. Step one, get a 0 on one side. So there's our 0. Okay. Now it's step 2. So that's step 1. Get a 0 on one side. Step 2, figure out a, b, and c. They're the numbers from the equation, right? A right here, b right here. See, there's no number in front of x. That makes it 1. That's negative, so negative 1. C is 4, a, b, and c. Put them into the quadratic formula. So we go, oh, okay. So therefore, this is a is 12. B is the 22, C is the 5. So the A, B, and C are the numbers in front of the x's. So then I plug into the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. It's again, this is all right here in the notes. Don't have to memorize any of this, just use your notes, print them out, use them during the exam. Okay, and now I'm going to plug into that quadratic formula. So here we go. So now it's negative b. So that'll be negative 22 plus or minus square root of b squared, which is 22 squared minus 4 times a times c. A is 12. That's a funny looking 12. C is 5. All over 2a, 2 times 12. So what's that going to equal? That's going to equal minus 22 plus or minus. Use your calculator now. 22 squared, I'm grabbing my calculator, is a 484. Minus, and then multiply 4 times 12 times that. So yeah, that's 240, and this is 24 in the bottom. Okay. And so what does that equal? Getting close here. So we've got minus 22 plus minus squared. Subtract that, you've got 244 over 24. Okay. So now, notice up here in the original question, it says, there are two answers. Do not give both answers. It said only give the lower answer, more negative, rounded to 2 decimal places. They want decimals, huh? And they want the lower answer. It says there's 2 answers, just give the lower. So I've got to get decimal answers. How do you do that? Well, there's 2 versions here. And I'll do them both, let's see, separately here. One of them, I'll just separate them here. One of them is negative 22 plus, right, it's plus or minus, plus the root of 244 over 24. The other is minus 22 minus, right, the minus or the plus options, the root of 244 over 24. See how I'm doing the 2 different options here with the plus and the minus options? And so now we just hit the buttons on our calculator. Now, when I say that, every calculator is a little different. So there's only so much I can do to help you at this point. If you have any trouble, I would totally encourage you to dial in with me on Zoom so I can help you with your particular calculator. But in general, I can say a couple of things that's generally true on most calculators. That is, you got to make sure you hit equals or enter when you're done with the top before you divide by the 24. So you got to go negative 22 plus the square root of 244, hit equals or enter, and then go divide by 24 and hit equals or enter again. That's really important that you remember right here to hit the equals before you do the divide. If you don't do that, if you don't hit that equals, you just do the 24 and then divide by, the square of the 244 and then divide by 24, you're only going to divide that last number by 24. But look, the bar says the whole numerator should be divided by 24. So to get the whole, you hit the equals. So once you hit equals, it calculates that whole top, and then you divide the whole top by 24. Does that make sense? So when you do that, I'm going to do that right now. I'm getting, for that answer, negative 0.2658. Now on the other side, I'm going to go negative 22 minus the square root 244. I'm going to hit equals. When I'm done with the top, same thing here, always hit equals and then divide by the 24 and hit equals again to finish it off. So I'm going to 2 minus second square root 244 equals divided by 24 equals, I'm getting minus 1.5675. Okay, minus 1.5675. So now the question is, which answer is right? Well, it's set up here. And by the way, make sure you can get those decimals. Sometimes on your calculator, it'll just show you this form or it'll simplify the root, but it won't give you decimal. If you're having trouble getting decimals on your calculator, I'm totally glad to help. Every calculator is a little different. There's usually a button that you have to hit to make it change to decimal form. I'd be glad to help you with that, but you need to dial in with me on Zoom or send me a text. You know, you can text me at 559-709-3898 to let me know you want to meet on Zoom at a different time. I'm glad to meet you, or I'm normally on Zoom every day except for Sunday 3 to 4. You know, just come on Zoom with your calculator. I'll be glad to show you. If you're having any trouble, make sure you can get decimals. You'll need to be able to get decimals in our class on your calculator. It'll take 2 seconds. Maybe that's a slight exaggeration, but it'll be real quick for me to show you how to get those decimals. Now, which one's the answer? Well, it said rounded to 2 places. Oh, the lower answer, more negative, right? That's the lower one. You know what I mean? That's going to be this one. It's more negative, negative 1.567, rounded 2 places. So that means we're going to stop here at the second place. That 7 tells us to round up, negative 1.57. That's all right. So that's more negative, right? Than this is. So it's lower. You know what I mean by that? Like you thought about a number line. I hope that's making sense. Or if you had a number line and like 0 was right here, whoops, back that up. 0 was right in the middle. Then this would be like the negative 0.2658, this answer, right? And then the other answer would be further back here, the negative 1.5675. That would be further to the left, right? More negative. So that's the lower answer. It's more negative. So round to 2 places, negative 1.57. That's our answer to the question. So there's how you use your calculator. I'm glad these are generally the buttons that work for most calculators. I'm glad to help. Text me, come to my Zoom time if you have any more trouble. There we go.